Hello, how you doing? It's Phil Thatch, and I'm here to talk about the newly announced Nikon Z50 II. And it's not the camera that I wanted. The camera that I wanted was a modern day D500. This is my old D500 that I've had since 2016. It is an APS-C camera with a professional feeling body. It has a big battery like a full frame camera. It has the autofocus system that was the top of the line for its day that could be found in the very, very top camera. It's just fantastic. And since they've come out with the Z series, they've made several APS-C cameras. The first was the Z50, the original Z50, which is about to be replaced with the Z50 II. They had a ZFC, which was a retro camera, which was basically this exact camera, but in a retro looking body. They've got a Z30, which is basically this camera without an EVF with a flippy screen. Of course, the ZFC had a flippy screen. This has a tilt screen. What we're looking for is a photography camera that can be APS-C and feel like top of the line and shoot like top of the line and have that APS-C crop. So what are we getting with the Z50 II? Why is it not the camera I want? First and foremost, probably the biggest thing, this is the Z50 battery, and it is little bitty, and it is 1,120 milliamp hours, so it doesn't last very long. And even more so than that, it gives kind of a false reading on the battery gauge. Now, they do have a new battery for the Z50 II. It's the ENEL25A, and it goes up from 1120 milliamp hours to 1250, so it has 130 more milliamp hours, and that is cool. But what I wanted was an ENEL15 battery, which has around 2,000 milliamp hours. And so that's not the camera I wanted. So the competition for a top of the line APS-C camera from Sony, they have the A6700. It has a big battery, like a full frame camera. Matter of fact, this little A6700 uses the same battery as their flagship A1. It uses the same battery as their A9 III, the global shutter camera. Same battery in this little camera. Here is the Canon R7. It uses the same battery as an R5 Mark II. So much bigger batteries in these. But what else do these cameras have that the new Z50 II doesn't have? Well, they have higher resolution sensors. This one's 26 megapixels, which is plenty. This one is 32.5 megapixels, which is almost overkill, but I'd rather have overkill than not enough. And both of these have in-body image stabilization, which is really nice. The Z50 II is going to use the same 20.9 megapixel sensor that the Z50 has. It's also the same sensor in the ZFC. It's also the same sensor in the Z30. As a matter of fact, that sensor was first introduced in 2016 in the D500. Now back in 2016, that was a pretty doggone good sensor, although Nikon, even prior to that, had higher resolution APS-C cameras. The D70 was 24 megapixels. If Nikon buys their sensors from Sony, I wish they had bought the 26 megapixel sensor that's in this camera and put it in this camera. In this day and age of people shooting with electronic shutter, it's important to have a really fast sensor, and none of these cameras have a really fast sensor. The fastest of them is probably this A6700, which I wish they had put that sensor in the Z50 II, but they didn't. They used this ancient sensor. Now this sensor has beautiful image quality. The 20.9 megapixel Nikon sensor has great image quality. I've never been disappointed with the image quality out of this, but I would like to have a little more resolution, not for higher image quality, but so where I could crop a little bit, because I'm a bird photographer primarily. I do all sorts of photography, but birds is my main thing, and you almost always have to crop a little bit in bird photography, even on an APS-C camera. So if this had 26 megapixels, that would be great. And if it had a faster sensor, because the new camera is going to feature some pretty fast frame rates, but they're useless. It does 11 frames per second with mechanical shutter, and I'm assuming you can also do 11 frames per second electronic and have RAW files. So those are usable, and 11 frames per second honestly is fast enough for me. I don't need a million frames per second. But this new Z50 II is also going to do 15 frames per second, but only in JPEG, useless for me, and 30 frames per second, but only in JPEG. That's useless for me. So if I ever need really high frame rates, the Z50 II won't be the camera for that situation, because I need to shoot in RAW, not JPEG, if possible. It's going to have pre-capture. That's nice, but it's only JPEG, so useless or virtually useless. So those are the things about the Z50 II that I don't like and make it not the camera I want. But what will this new camera have that I do like? Well, the original Z50, it had the display button and the plus and minus in terms of zoom in and zoom out, whether in preview or in review mode. Buttons are actually on the screen, which I never liked that about this camera. I got used to using it. It wasn't really a problem, but I always wish that there was actually tactile buttons so I could press those buttons just by feel instead of having to actually look. The new Z50 II, which I'll show you a picture of the back of it on the screen now, you can see the plus and minus buttons and the display buttons are actually buttons, not just places on the touch screen. So that is really nice. The best thing about the new camera, and what makes it interesting to me, even though it doesn't have the battery and it doesn't have the sensor and it doesn't have the IBIS and it doesn't have the pro body that I wanted them to add, it will have the XP7 processor, which is the same processor that's in the Nikon Z8 and the Nikon Z9. I think it's also in the Z6 III. And it should have basically the same autofocus algorithms as the pro cameras, the Z8, the Z9. So that's going to be really good. Now, of course, mirrorless camera autofocus, one of the biggest things about how well it works is how fast is the readout speed of the sensor. And because this thing's using the sensor from 2016, the readout speed is going to be slow. So there's a limit to how good the autofocus can be with a sensor that has a really slow readout speed. So I'm not expecting any miracles, but it should be much, much better than this camera, which doesn't even have bird eye detect autofocusing. This is mostly from a bird photographer point of view. If you're a landscape photographer, you don't even need autofocus. If you're a portrait photographer, you don't really need great autofocus. But if you're a sports and wildlife photographer, you need dynamite autofocus. So this is kind of the point of view that I'm talking to you about with this little chat about my thoughts on the new Nikon Z50 II from a bird photographer point of view. There's so many great lenses that I have that are for Nikon APS-C. When I bought my Z50, I bought the 2-lens kit, and I really love both of these lenses. They're not amazing in any way, but they are competent. This is the 16 to 50 kit lens, which is a great little landscape photography walk around lens. And this is the 50 to 250 kit lens, a little telephoto lens. I've done street photography with this 50 to 250. It does great. I actually have a video in the pipeline right now where I used the Z50 and this lens in my blind and did bird photography with it. And it did well for that as well. I have lots and lots of Viltrox prime lenses. Here's a 56 1.4. Here's a 75 1.2 that's an amazing lens, and honestly this camera struggles to focus with it. I've put it on my Z8 and it focuses great with it, but I don't need a full frame camera when I'm using an APS-C lens, so hopefully it'll focus good on the Z50 II. Here's a great lens for landscape photography and maybe even astro. This is the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. Fantastic lens. So anyway, lots and lots of lenses, but the lens I'll probably use the very most on my Z50 II is a full frame lens, and that is the 180 to 600. This will give me 900 millimeters full frame equivalent on that camera, and I can't wait to get out and do bird photography with the Z50 II with this lens. So I guess you've already guessed that I'm going to get this camera, even though it's not the camera I wanted. You know, it doesn't have the right body, it doesn't have the right battery, it doesn't have the right sensor, it doesn't have IBIS, but it's still going to be the best APS-C camera you can get for Nikon Z. So I'm going to go ahead and get it, and I look forward to showing you what I can do with it here on the channel. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Hit thumbs up if you like the content. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see some more. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.